Welcome to Talina Marie Creations. This is my third attempt at creating this video for you. Original footage on a Sony camera with my cell phone recording simultaneously next to it. So forgive me for my terrible decisions on trying to do a multi-camera on my first kiln opening video here for YouTube and Instagram, and just really struggled with it because I decided that there was so much audio traffic. Um, and as you can hear, as you can hear, I did a voiceover on my computer just like I'm doing now. And somehow it was recording from two microphones at the same time. And it had this terrible echo, and I cannot disable it. It is already done. So when I open this kiln, I'm going to move on and show you that I got to a cone 5. So I have a cone 4 in the end, a cone 5 in the middle, and the cone 6 still standing. And that is the goal I was going for. So top shelf fired where I needed it. I do want to try a cone 6 at one point, but I haven't tested this kiln to go that high yet. So we'll see, maybe a test firing. This was what I believe is a chum plum. And I did that all over and then iron luster on top of that. The chum plum, I'm pretty sure, is what I use because it does pull this like reddish color, like reddish brownish, a little bit of purple, but mostly reddish brownish, some purple, depending on how many thick layers you apply versus lighter layers. So I definitely favor thicker layers for this color. But this color, I've never been able to get this to do. So I don't know what the secret is to get this almost like mauve-y purple, like a grayish purple, but every time I've used it so far, it's maybe the one on the right. It just pulls really red. So I'm happy with this particular one, with the iron luster giving those really pretty blue hues over the chum plum, and it just looks pretty. I like it. The iron luster is on the inside, and I think I went about halfway down on the outside with the iron luster. So happy with this piece. And it's nice and smooth. There's no pinholes or nothing. So this is a sellable piece that I can put on for sale. So I'm excited about that one. Yeah, I don't know if I had said anything extra here because I'm starting to lose my voice. I've been doing this voiceover for so long, but my son was my little helper here. At first, he was trying to help me like move the pieces and put them away from me, but he got bored really quick, so I got a little distracted with him being out there. But this, I believe, was the same thing where I took this little cup and I put the chum plum on first. You could see the chum plum on the bottom of this outside part. I may have layered the whole thing with chum plum inside and out, and then I think I wanted to say iron luster over it. It has these blue colors that come out with it. It's so pretty. It's a little darker than I was expecting, but it's still pretty when it blends together. But just be prepared for this. I don't know, whatever this clay that I'm using, it's kind of a mix of either B Laguna mix, B mix, and possibly Blick, which I really don't know. It's definitely a high fire as far as I know, those two that I'm mentioning. But maybe they got mixed in with a low fire at some point, and because there were some pieces that were kind of melting. This was a trinket dish. I did not like the iron luster here on the bottom. It just was over the chum plum on the outside rim, and then on top of that was I believe, blue midnight. It just didn't look good to me. It got that brownish blend of yuckiness, so I'm going to reglaze this one. Try to lighten it up for the next round. But yeah, I wish, I think my goal in perfecting my technique of what kind of pieces I want to make is going to be sticking to a certain stoneware and not mixing anymore. This was a beautiful piece. I was so excited at how pretty the glaze actually came out for this, and I do believe this is an iron luster, possibly on top of something, or it might have just been iron luster all by itself. But I think this particular stilt that I used was a low fire stilt. someone had given me a bunch of new stilts, and I don't know if they make them in low fire versus high fire, the stilts themselves, but this particular one, it just fused itself to the bottom of my piece. So I may be keeping this piece as a desktop trinket of failure pieces or just turn it into a planter, but I cannot sell it. It is permanently, and it's not just the stilt, like the metal, it's the whole stilt started bending and melting into the bottom, but the bowl itself doesn't look like it had any issues. Like, it's pretty sturdy. It's just that triangle piece started melting and got stuck. So now I'm regretting choosing that. I should have just put it right on the cookie. I'm probably going to do that from now on, is just take the risk with not really using stilts unless I really, really needed to, and just trying to not be so anxious. This was a cone pack someone had made at the Flamingo Clay Studio. And I thought it was really cute, so my son was playing with this and looking at it. It's a little doggy. So if you make really creative cone packs, you can save them or sell them. They're cute. I just make the little rectangular ones you see below. It was quick and easy, but I like that idea with making the doggy. But I'd probably give them away. I don't know if anyone really wants to buy that. What do you guys think? Would you buy that little cute doggy? I think I would if I glazed it. I don't know. Okay, this is a really pretty sponge holder that I made. I love everything about it. I was happy with the turnout. The results of the blue Celadon came out fabulous. I'm happy with it. It's sellable. It's perfect. I love it. So, good piece, Celadon blue, nice transparent look. No pinholes, no cracking. Everything came out just the way I hoped. This piece, I believe, was an experiment, and I can't remember exactly what I used, but I'm going to guess that I had the chum plum with that red tinge on the bottom with a mix of blue isle, which was a Mako stroke and coat, on the inside and the outside, and then I honey flux the rim on the inside and the outside. 2 coats of each color. The blend of the honey flux and the blue isle is nice. I liked how that looked. There's definitely a big contrast, like if you want the blends to flow better, where that chum plum is, it's just very contrasty with that blue isle. So probably, unless you are going for that particular straight line look, have to reconsider what to do to get it to flow more of a fluxy flow with that chum plum there. It's a very straight edge, but it still came out nice. I think there was like one little pinhole in this, so I may or may not have to refire it over one pinhole. Oh, it's so frustrating, you guys. I'm sure you understand pinhole drama. So yeah, I got cone 5, same exact results on the second shelf, which was good. Yeah, and moving on to the second shelf, I had a lot more issues where some of the clay probably blended, like this particular one. Now instead of the actual clay stilt part, or whatever you call the part that's white that makes the stilt, instead of that part melting, it was just the prongs, and the prongs went into the bottom of my clay, into my vase. And I'm just thinking, what is going on here? It looks like this started melting at the bottom. So this may have been where I might have mixed some low fire clay into my high fire clay. I don't know if I did that or not. I want to say there's a possibility, but then there's also a possibility that maybe the clay has just been recycled so much and it's not the greatest high-end clay, and it just isn't holding up in the kiln, and it's kind of melting like a low fire would. But I would think if it were a low fire altogether, it would have melted onto my shelf. But I don't know. It's a mystery to me, guys. My first firing in my other kiln was a total disaster. Everything was burned to crisp, bubbled, and one of my mugs completely melted. And I know that I overfired it, but I also feel like it's either something with the clay or somehow I mixed a low fire in there, and that's more likely the culprit. But it's still an unknown. From here on out, I will never know. I can only guess. This was a cute little mug that came out with Mako stroke and coat. I did the white cottontail, I think it's called. I did that on the inside and the outside, I believe, and then I coated blue isle on the inside. and on the rim. And it looks cute. And you can kind of still see the speckles through the blue aisle as well. It looks nice. Cute little shot cup, little trinket bowl, whatever you want to use it for. I like to do little OJ and cod liver oil shots with my kids for vitamins in the morning, and these size cups are really nice and cute and low dose for sugar control on the orange juice, if you know what I mean. So let's see, what do we have next? A lot of my pieces came out dark. I did do that intentionally on some of them. Like this one was particularly going to be all black underglaze coated with a shipwreck on top of that. And it shipwreck, has like this kind of a darker peacock blue. I think that's actually in the glaze itself. And it's got like a tealish looking, greenish, dark blue look with these golden brownish speckles that the shipwreck causes. And I don't remember if I put a flux on this. It's possible, but I think I honestly just put the shipwreck right over the black underglaze. And I really like the way that it turned out. It's pulled some nice blues. And there's a possibility I did put a flux on the inside there, and that's where you're getting those lighter on the rim and the inside. It's possible I did a flux, but I can't remember, and I don't know if I wrote it down. So if I find what I did, I will let you guys know about that, probably in the comments. So yeah, I'll be sitting down looking through what did I actually do and which notes can I match up in the glazes that I got. This particular, I think this is a sponge holder. Felt like a disaster for me. I did not like how it came out at all. It was that gritty clay that felt like it was going to melt if I had it on a stilt, but luckily it was just on a cookie. But yeah, it just has this like grittiness to it that I expected because that's how the clay was when I made it. But I feel like this is an underglaze of electric blue with the shipwreck on top. I don't know. I don't even know what that was. It just looked like puke brown. A puke brown flux. So I'm reglazing that one. This is a really cute sherbet. It really pops with that bright orange underglaze. It's got that matte feeling and look on the bottom, and then on the top I coated it inside and out on the rim with white cottontail to get the gloss food safe finish that I like. And you can't really see the orange speckles, but you see the blue speckles and the white cottontail through there. And it's a cute little cup. I'm happy with this one. The next one was a piece, you get a close up of there, but the next one that I pull out, it was a piece that I threw on the wheel. It was going to be either a mug or a small vase, and I messed it up. It got too wet and it deformed on the wheel, and I was like, that looks kind of cool. I like it. Maybe I should keep it. And I decided it kind of reminded me of like the Sorting Hat in Harry Potter, and it just had personality. I was like, I could look at that all day with a plant in it. And I decided to blue aisle the inside, gave it a transparent look, translucent blue aisle on the inside and the white cottontail on the outside. I may or may not sell it. We'll see. I'll put it on the table, see if anyone bites, but that's just my personal choice to keep because I liked it. This one, I was trying to decide if it was iron luster or just chum plum. A lot of my chum plum, if you can notice, it doesn't look very purple gray. Like it's so confusing because on their picture they have, one that looks like a purple gray and then another one that looks like more reddish. This is the iron luster. If I were to use it by itself, it has like this greenish, blue, brownish look to it, and I thought that's what I put on the outside here, which I possibly did. On the outside only, the iron luster, and then on the rim it would be the chum plum on the inside and the outside rim. But I'm not sure. And here I'm just trying to get the get to the part of the video where I can see it better because I was a little too far away. And I think at some point I get closer. So yeah, I was trying to decide, is this iron luster or is this all chum plum? I do feel like it is iron luster on the outside. Doesn't look very blue for whatever reason on my piece. And it could be because of not enough coats maybe. But I definitely feel like it's got, I don't know. Sometimes I even get confused between the chum plum and the smirky merlot. The blends, I don't know. It's a mystery if I don't really keep track. And that's why it's so important to keep track of what glaze you use for everything. And I wrote down what I did on each thing. But then as I was putting them in the kiln, I was taking them out and realizing I didn't document like with pictures or anything. And then I didn't know what went where. And I have all the papers somewhere in a bowl and I don't know what to do. I'm going to have to guess the best I can. But yeah, it's either iron luster with chum plum or iron luster with smirky merlot. This was a cute underglaze pink that I did. It looked much lighter when I first did it. It was like a darker light pink. But after I put a clear coat over it and mixed some blue midnight on the top and I think some smirky merlot on the inside, it did not blend and it darkens almost to what I want to say is like this hot red. It does not look like anything I hoped it would look, because usually underglaze will keep pretty close other than like a deepening with a clear over it, but it just looks so much darker than I originally had glazed it with the underglaze. So definitely going to be aware of that. I think this is not the first time I've had my pinks turn red and I just keep forgetting. But yeah, I'm gonna have to master finding a pink, a much lighter pink that works for what I'm trying to do. And definitely don't mix midnight blue because it just looks black with this underglaze. It was a bad choice of color matching for blending. Terrible choice. Back to the drawing board on that one. That's a redo. This one was really nice. I did an underglaze of black all over the outside, and then I covered it with a white cottontail Mako stroking coat. And then on the inside, I did Mako Stroke and Coat Blue Isle. And then I covered the whole rim inside and a little bit on the outside with the Honey Flux. And it's like just a blend of cool greens and blues and a little bit of the black and the cottontail speckles. And it's different. I like it. It's cute. Happy with that. It's kind of got those artistic brushstrokes mixed with the flow of the flux. Someone will love it or someone will hate it. We'll see if it sells. But if not, I will definitely enjoy it at some point in my cabinet if no one buys it. I'm sorry, I'm so soft. My voice literally is scratchy and hurting because I've been doing this voiceover for the third time now. But it's worth it because I want the best quality. I know it's not the best video, but I want to at least give you guys the best audio I can. This was a really great Celadon piece. It was supposed to be a cup or a small vase. I decided to make it a vase with the holes. You've got true Celadon, the green on the outside and the blue Celadon on the inside. And some of the Celadon actually leaked down onto the stilt, and a couple stilts, like one or two with the Celadons. Part of why I've been using the double protection is because Celadon sometimes will definitely, especially with holes on the bottom like that one, stick to the cookie. So I may have made a choice of using the stilt for a good purpose on that one. This is another little cup with the white cottontail and the blue isle over in the inside in the rim. That one came out good too. And the other one that matches it, it's like cute nesting. It fits perfectly inside the other one. This was another clay mystery disaster where the stilt and the clay became one, and it's probably going to go in the garbage and or in a yard somewhere. I don't know. I'm going to have like, I don't know what you would call it, a boneyard of deformed clay pots in the garden. My husband's going to kill me. Or I just going to have to toss them. I don't know. We'll see what I do with it. But it is not coming apart. This was the violet underglaze. I think white cottontail on the inside and the rim. And then I think I put a flux in between there. And it just like fluxed clear, pushed away. It just pushed away the underglaze. So it was not a good outcome. And I don't remember if I did the flux. It might have actually just been a mix of the white cottontail and the underglaze, and it fluxed on its own because I knew that violet underglaze was kind of having issues on some of my other pieces too. So I don't know if it was just too much water in the mixture or what I did to it, but not happy with the violet stuff. This looked like it was completely overcooked. Another gritty clay issue. Blue midnight with a flux, and it just looked like it got baked really crispy. And the stilt got stuck in it as expected. This was one of the crispier pieces in the whole batch that I saw. It had blue underglaze. I think it was electric blue covered with midnight blue and then the honey flux. And yeah, it just has like, just came out way too baked, way too dark, way too stuck. Disaster, failed piece. Not sure if it was, the stilt or the piece, but in this case, I have a feeling it was more the piece where it just fused and let the metal sink right into it. And that was that for that shelf. Good with a cone 5 on the middle. And then I moved on to the last and final piece here. That was another disaster. You could see cone 6 still standing. With this last piece here that I'm about to get to, it was another gritty looking piece, and it just looked like the bottom melted and fused to the stilt. And it just, the blend of whatever glaze was on there, underglaze and clear, I don't know what's going on. I think it's just something with the clay, particular pieces of clay that I had that were blended very badly, recycled together, and they are not doing well at all. And the stilts kept getting stuck, so I'm going to have a funeral for several stilts on this one because it is clay fusing with the stilts or the stilt fusing with the clay, vice versa, depending on the situation. Each piece was a little different. So I have to, I don't know, I might be tossing a lot of clay if I have uncertainty and just getting a better clay, because at this point, I think I'm at a point where I don't want to keep wasting time having melted pieces and stilts and cookies stuck because of my clay melting. And having this kiln sitter is definitely an advancement where I could avoid a lot of heartache. But I do think this was a velvet underglaze on the inside bottom and the outside bottom. And then I had the chum plum because it has that red look to it. And then I layered it with the honey flux on the inside and on the outside. So it kind of gave it a weird peachy creamy purple look. So I don't know, the coloring was not my favorite. Probably wouldn't get that one to sell, but yeah, it melted anyway. So try again. Better glaze, better clay. This was a old time, like we're talking probably 6 months or more, that I made this bowl as a tester for like a glaze test tile, but in a bowl form. And because I make a lot of bowls and mugs, I thought it'd be a great way to test the glaze that I had just gotten. You can see there is blue isle, the straight blue tealish looking. That's the blue isle. To the right of that, I believe, I'll get closer eventually, but you can see here, the cone pack I'm looking at is cone 4 and 5 melted and cone 6 and 7 still standing. So I still got a cone 5 even on the bottom shelf where I thought there was going to be an issue or a lower firing because the elements weren't turning on when I looked through the peepholes, but it got a cone 5, so that's promising. At least I know it's getting to the right temperature. That I'm pointing to is iron luster. I'm glad I remember, based on like looking at the glazes so much, what that is, and the fact that it actually turned out what I was expecting. The only thing that I wasn't expecting was like, the smirky merlot and the chum plum. They don't have those purple hues I was hoping for. The colors just look more reds and brown than the purple and grays that I wanted. This is a saturation gold. I think that is just a reproduction of the same chum plum. That is the blue Isle Mako Stroke and Coat, and that is the blue Midnight. Most of these are Amico. Blue Midnight's the only Mako on here. So yeah, I mean, definitely good if you want those dark colors, but in order for me to get those smirky Merlots and or any of these darker colors to get those lighter fluxes, gotta put them on top of the fluxes. And so far I've only tried a honey flux, and I'm probably gonna delve into a couple different fluxes and just try different things, and definitely do more test tiling and see how they flow and the consistency of how many layers and what they do under or over a certain glaze, and really just do a bunch of tests because I think it's important. And then that way I can show you guys and save you time. I'm looking at those mugs down there just leaning on each other, and I'm like traumatized because they were my two favorite like moon mugs. And I'm like, why? Why my two moon mugs, my star and my moon mugs kissed? One fell over and kissed, and the lip on one, this one here on the right, this dark blue Midnight, which looks practically black. Still pretty though, but it's way darker than I anticipated. And I don't know if I had put something underneath. It has like a greenish look underneath, especially towards the bottom outside. It looks like there's some green blending in there, and I'm not sure what happened or if I had two different colors, but yeah, it's very dark. When my son came in and he's like, oh, I like this one, mommy. But I was so upset about this moon. So I'm probably going to have to sand and try to fix these two. I don't even know if it's worth trying, but I am going to be redoing these two mugs or tossing. I don't know. You guys think they're worth fixing? I don't know. The other one's really dark. I don't know if I like it. I might have to lighten it up. I was going to luster the moon and the stars with either white gold or gold, but now that they've been nicked, I don't know if it's worth. I don't want to waste the luster, if you know what I mean. So I may just start over on these. I'm undecided. If you're watching this, let me know in the comments, would you try refixing these, reglazing them, and then maybe using the luster? Because that was my intention. But I don't know. I feel like I might just have to try again. I have a bunch of really cute molds coming to help me make things faster, just to get the business going, where I have like molds to make moons and stars, and I could probably start just pumping these out faster for vending events. So it might be worth just not wasting the luster and starting over. This was another disaster where my light pink and my golds of like pinks and blues and grays do not look that color at all. It's like hot bright pink turned hot red, disaster red underglaze, all gone wrong with the clear coat, and then a mixture of what looks like a flux and a blue Midnight, and I don't even know how the green got in there. Mystery mug. I definitely know there's like possibility shipwreck got in there. It might have been a mix of like the blue Midnight, shipwreck, and a honey flux, because I was really experimenting at this point. I was just throwing all kinds of stuff on there to see what would happen, and I actually don't mind that. Take away the yucky red hearts, that's actually not ugly. You know, I don't mind the browns and the earthy tones, but I do not like that hot pink. It almost looks green, like a teal on the bottom. So I was blending. But you know, you blend too much, you start getting browns. That's my problem. This one I actually really liked. I think it had a black underglaze on the outside with a little thumb imprint there. And then I did a smirky Merlot, because you see the purple gray hues on the middle area there. And then I did a honey flux, and it was pulling it was definitely pulling, the lighter colors for me that I was going for. So that's the purple there that you see, Smirky Merlot, Honey Flux with the black, and inside I think I also had black with the Smirky Merlot and the Honey Flux, and it looks pretty decent. I like it. We're almost done. My voice is just barely hanging on. I think I had to switch to a secondary video at this point. I had to make a stop because the kids were interrupting me. So I went for round 2 on a video, and I just continued to basically go through the rest of the bottom shelf here. And it was loading slowly. But we have these 2, I think these were the true Celadon, the ones that look green. They have a translucent kind of look to them, which Celadon does, but I do prefer a thicker coat than this one. Like the other one had it, like on the top it's thicker, but I really wanted more. I got to put a thicker layer of that, at least on the top part. I could definitely use some more color for the Celadon, but either way, it still looks nice. I just prefer a little bit more opaque. That's so translucent. And you're going to get translucent with the Celadons, but it just looks like it needs a little more color. This was the Velvet Underglaze Violet. And at first I thought the clear was causing this like white cloudy areas, but then I realized, as I had mentioned, the violet, either the brush I was using or the mixture I had made, maybe thinning it with some water, there was just parts of the violet that were spreading and they were just getting too translucent in some areas. Like it wasn't an even coat. And those are the areas where the glaze was not thick. So, I don't know. It's still pretty. Even that natural look where you see the clay through it. But because I glazed it with the gloss clear coat, I may just go ahead and re-coat this one. And I was having issues. I was trying to fix the cameras to look better. So you could see this mug. And yeah. I'm going to probably, I don't know. What do you guys think? Leave it alone or redo it? I don't know. Part of me wants to redo it so bad. All right. What do we have here? Oh, this was so pretty. This was a black underglaze on the gritty piece that I was worried about. Like a very gritty clay of recycled, I don't know what it was. Googly gosh. More than 1 or 2 clays, maybe 3 mixed together. But I liked how it came out. It had a black underglaze, and then it had, I think, Blue Midnight and Honey Flux. And I might have even put a little shipwreck on there if there's any speckles that we can see. There's like these golden brownish speckles. Then you'll know there's a little bit of shipwreck on there. But I definitely know it was black, Blue Midnight, and Honey Flux. But could have been shipwreck as well. And I think at some point I raise it up higher. There we go. Wish I would have focused a little bit more on that one, slower, so we could have seen. But I might try to pause a little. I'm learning, guys. I'm learning. I know I'm a filmmaker, but observing your pottery coming out and stressing about the results and then realizing you're on camera as well, it's hard. It's hard to know, especially because I was doing 2 cameras. I'm pretty sure this was a iron luster mix with a honey flux. It's hard to remember because I could have also done like a chum plum with iron luster. Actually, the more I look at it, that might be chum plum with iron luster on the rim and on the inside, because that chum plum pulls the red. But it could also be iron luster. I don't know. That's a tough one. What do you guys think that one was? Mystery glazes. I was so upset with the prongs leaving these triangle marks. I mean, it's still sellable, but I just hate when it does that. This was different. It kind of has like a creamsicle look where it's like, peachy cream, pink, orange, and then a mix of like blues and teal, a little bit of black there. Definitely had some flux in there, honey flux. Possibly had blue isle, but I don't know why. I don't think I would mix blue isle, so I might just be thinking this is blue isle because I'm mixing two colors together that are giving me that blue. Could be Smirky Merlot and the honey flux and the blue midnight, and I don't know what's happening. And I may have actually written this one down somewhere, so I'll have to look at the notes and try to decide what did I do on this. I definitely know there's honey flux in there. Definitely think there's a chum plum in there. Probably more chum plum than the Smirky Merlot on this one, but I'm trying to figure out what made this light blue. Could be some iron luster with that dark blue, black, brown look on there. Could be a mix of iron luster and honey flux, and that could be bringing out these neat little blue. Who knows? All right, I think we've got 3 or 4 more pieces. This was my first attempt at like a tumbler mug for coffee or something in the car. It's very short. It's just a tester. I eventually going to make these a lot bigger because I like bigger mugs. Most people do. But this is a short. I think I started with the white cottontail and then I covered it with a blue isle just to give it something different, not just, white and blue isle separate like I usually do. I was doing a little bit of both, gave it a lighter color, and then on the rim I went with extra blue isle, I believe, to give it a darker rim, and really just gooped it on, trying to make it thicker so that it would run a little, which it clearly behaved the way I wanted it to. Not sure how I feel about the gobs, like how they turned out, the drips, but still cute. Inside is nice and dark like the top. It was really difficult to glaze inside having this mug like this, but I got it done. I think these in the future will probably be much better to dip, like a dipping glaze versus painting, because they were really difficult once you have that half lid on there. Oh, you guys, just when I thought like I was already embarrassed about my clay melting and the stilts melting, and this is another time I've done this in the past where I have clear and possibly white underglaze on the table, and I think I'm clear glazing. And I started with the clear glaze, clearly, because you could see the shimmer of the clear glaze on the inside. But I think what happened is I got lucky on the inside where I may have just used the clear, or I may have put one coat of underglaze over the clear, but it's got more of a clear shimmer softness on the inside. But on the outside, it's just totally messed up. It's got that matte feeling like I just put underglaze over my clear glaze and ruined it. And I've done this once before, and I'm like, what is this? It was this cool etching that I did of underglaze blending colors, and etched all these beautiful flowers and little green trees, and you were going to see like the blues and the green and whatever colors I had under there, including the orange. And then I ruined it by thinking I was putting clear on, and I put white over it. Because keep in mind, the white glaze, the clear that I'm using, just is white when it dries. So I'm probably going to be one of those people that needs a clear that dries a different color, like the pink or green, so that I know it's clear. It'll dry a different color. This was the violet underglaze that I'm not happy with. But I did like how it contrasted, how it actually made the blue shipwreck. It gave the shipwreck a darker tone, because the shipwreck, like I had mentioned, probably has a peacock blue in it inside the mixture, as far as I remember. And over the underglaze violet, it pulls a deeper blue, and it's so pretty. I really love it, but I'm not sure I like the contrast of that color next to the violet. And I was just basically showing you guys the difference of Shipwreck all by itself with no other glaze versus how it looked with the violet underneath it. And I've also done a mix where I did electric blue underneath Shipwreck. And yeah, I favor the blue more than this violet. And I think I've also done a purple. Something about the violet versus the purple. The purple had more hues of blue in it. And I just think for this particular color blending, contrasting, that the purple or the blue looks better under Shipwreck than the violet. So I will not, unless I cover it completely, I probably will not use violet as a visibly, like a combo where you visibly see it like this. Some people might like it. It might just be personal preference, but I like the darker purples with this and the darker blues under glaze. So in the future, I probably won't do that again. This was my most precious disaster. This was supposed to be very pinkish purpley blue, and it came out very reddish brown. The vine I was intending to gold luster anyways, but I did not expect it to look like mustard brown, yellow, green. It was supposed to be avocado, and maybe that's what avocado looks like with the clear over it, but I was not wanting that color result. So lesson learned, avocado in the clear that I was using on this particular stoneware does not look what I wanted. But I did have the intention of lustering the moon, the star, and the vine, and it doesn't really matter what color it is because it would be covered in gold, but now I know. But yeah, just like, this is not supposed to be red. And even if I did use the chum plum, I was just expecting more of that purple to come through, and it was just, for whatever reason, maybe not thick enough coat, where it just, one all by itself doesn't have a thick enough coat and looks red like, you know, the chum plum showed on the website. But then here in the inside, I think I put a Smirky Merlot, where, I don't know if it was a Smirky Merlot or if I did the flux, but it pulled the blues out of it. And that's like, imagine having that rim of that blue, purple, white all over. That's what I was hoping for. More purples and blues and white and pink, and I got this reddish brown disaster. But I think I just need to find better glazes for the results that I want. I'm just picking the wrong ones. This actually came out pretty nice. I think I did black. I want to say like a black underglaze, but it's clear on the outside, so it's possible that it was blue midnight everywhere, and then Shipwreck on the inside, and then honey flux on the rim, inside and out, because the inside looks more blue and black and possibly speckled with the Shipwreck mixed with the honey flux, and then the outside just looks more black. So I do think there's a difference there, where I may have actually put black on the inside and the outside and then did the Shipwreck, or a blue midnight. Another mystery of black versus blue midnight, or I might have just done blue midnight in the inside and black on the outside. But it's hard to know if I would do that on purpose. So it's possible that it's black, but I don't know. This was another disaster where the stilt tilted and it fell onto, instead of the bottom, it went into the side of my vase, a little potter here, and it left a nice stilt mark into the glaze. So this one, in my opinion, is ruined, but, you know, what do you expect? You expect someone to buy something that looks almost perfect, but then it has a stupid stilt pin in it. I don't know. I don't even know if I see it, but there it is. It's so dark and like, hey, look at me. You need a discount. And then the other two on the bottom. I hate those marks. I don't know, guys. I'm going to have to start just taking more risks with the kiln cookies and just really thickening up the kiln wash on the cookies and praying for the best. but I don't know. These celadons are hard. They do tend to drip sometimes. So it's a toss up of pinholes from the stilts or the cookie sticking to the mug. It might be worth the stilt holes versus the permanent cookie stuck, and it's unusable. So you see the kiln sitter here. So with this kiln in Apollo, my new god of sun and light, he fires to a cone 5 when you put a cone 6 in the sitter. So if I want to get a cone 6, I could try that. If it'll successfully get to that heat, I do not know yet, but I would have to put a cone 7 in the sitter to get that result. So in the meantime, I know I can get a good cone 5 putting a cone 6 in the sitter with a successful kiln opening, but just still trying to master maybe sticking to one clay, and not getting any melting issues or low fire, getting overcooked, or whatever is the problem here. Making sure I don't use the wrong kind of, hopefully. I'll have to look into that. Do stilts have low fire versus high fire? It's a possibility that I had some low fire stilts in my high fire pieces. So, lesson learned. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for watching if you got this far. Please be sure to like and subscribe. And as I learn and grow, I hope that you will learn from my mistakes and see my successes as well. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day. Until next time.